Getting from a coffee bean to a cup of coffee is a massive global business. But could I do it all myself, right here at home? That's the mission. Take this one little plant, grow it, harvest, process, and roast the beans to brew one perfect cup of homegrown coffee. Is this going to be the best cup of coffee I've ever had, or just a lot of work? Let's find out. First, you can't just plant a roasted bean from a bag of coffee. The roasting process makes it a non-starter. The easiest way to begin is to buy a young Coffea arabica plant from a nursery. Coffee is a tropical plant, so the goal is recreating that environment. It needs bright but indirect light. They're happiest between 65 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and they love humidity. As for the soil, you want to keep it consistently moist, but not a soggy mess. And now, the hard part. We wait. Seriously, growing coffee is a long game. From a plant, you're looking at 3 to 5 years before you even see your first flowers. And once it does flower, it's another 8 months for the cherries to ripen. Still, it's a really beautiful houseplant on its own, even if it never gives me a single bean. But the mission for a full cup continues. By the way, if you're enjoying this little gardening adventure, definitely hit that subscribe button. And drop a comment below. I'd love to know if you've ever tried to grow something totally out of the ordinary at home. Okay, so years have passed, and finally the moment we've all been waiting for. The plant flowered, and then cherries. They start out green and over months slowly turn this deep, beautiful red. That's how you know it's go time. The harvest is easy. You just gently pick the ripe ones. But let's be realistic. You won't get a huge haul from a single houseplant. To make a single shot of espresso, you'd need somewhere around 40 ripe cherries. Now comes the most complicated part. First, you get the beans out of the cherry. For a tiny batch, you can just squish them by hand. Then you have to ferment the beans in water for a day or two to get the slimy stuff off. After a good rinse, it's time to dry them out, which can take days or even weeks. You're waiting until this thin, papery layer, it's called parchment, can be peeled right off. Once you've got your green beans, it's finally time to roast. You can actually do this in a pan on the stove. Just keep them moving until they're perfectly brown. And so here we are, from a small houseplant to a handful of cherries, processed and roasted right in my own kitchen. The only thing left to do is grind these beans and brew what has to be the most hard-earned cup of coffee in history. Wow, the flavor is amazing. But was it worth it? If you're looking to save money on coffee, then absolutely not.
But for the satisfaction of seeing the entire process through, from one plant to one cup, it's one of the coolest things I've ever done. So, can you actually grow coffee at home? Yes, you can. And you'll never look at your morning cup the same way again.